It's way too hot for this.
Good thing we're in Texas, Mark, where it's 95% humidity. And we're in a 1971 Ford Bronco, and we're here for the all-new Bronco launch. You ready? You ready for some heat?
I'm ready for the new one with air conditioning and a top that's closed up. my baby soft skin is gonna get scorched.
All right, Mark.
Oh! Jack, you jingled my luggage all around back there because Mr. Jack, he had to have the two-door with the manual transmission when we have about 5,000 pounds worth of gear. So let's talk about it, Jack. Let's start. We're in the Bronco, two-door, four-popper. What is it? A seven-speed manual? It's six.
No, technically it's six, but you have a
creeper.
A creeper gear.
You got the stalker gear.
You have the stalker gear, which technically Ford calls us a 7-speed manual transmission. Okay. This is the all-new Bronco, the full-fledged truck-based Bronco, not the one that's based on the Ford Escape. And we are in Austin, Texas, where it is at about 9,000 degrees out. It is very humid, and we have about less than 24 hours with this thing to do our whole shoot.
So yeah, anybody that you see doing videos on this thing from the launch, just know that we have very minimal time with it, and these are going to be first impressions.
Yes.
So let's talk about it. Badlands Edition, let's cover the trim levels, and then we'll talk about the interior.
So the Badlands Edition that we have is kind of like the Rubicon JL trim level, the Wrangler. This is the off-road variant, and what's cool about what Ford is doing is they allow you to pair whatever engine or transmission combo you want with pretty much any trim level. They don't shoehorn you in only having the high horsepower, the V6 with the 10-speed automatic, in their off-road variant.
So if you're a true off-roader, you get a base model, you can get whatever engine and transmission you want, and you can add like on the Sasquatch package if you want to stay on the lower price end. This thing starts at about 33 grand, and you can bump it all the way up to about 60 when you load it up. So, but they've done it smart. The buy-in is really good. They're trying to get people from other brands or other trucks, specifically Jeep. So we're not going to cover any more of the trim levels. Let's talk about the interior space first.
This is very similar feeling to a lot of other Ford products. You have the fourth generation of Ford Sync. However, you have this massive screen. I think it works quite well. It seems to be fast to react. You have wireless Apple CarPlay. You have Android Auto. You have the Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is average. But again, no one's buying a vehicle like this for a audiophile sound experience.
Right.
And most of the touch points in this vehicle feel pretty decent.
At least on this upper trim level, it feels very well built. It feels very, how do I put this, lifestyle-ish, which means in certain trim levels, they give you the ability to be able to spray out the floor. You can pull out the mats, you can spray it out so you can go mudding. You can have a horrible diarrhea in here if you have a kid that threw up all over with his
And you have
pasta.
real drain plugs.
And real drain plugs. So you have passive drain plugs that kind of open up on their own, and then you have bigger ones that you can pull out and pop out yourself when you really spray the floor out. So this makes that, I don't know, it's exactly what you expect from a vehicle like this, but you know, obviously not all trim levels have that. The other part about the interior space is the ruggedized. It's very ruggedized, it's very durable. There's a lot of hard plastics, but it doesn't look like a total shit box.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't look like a rental car fleet pile. There's still really good attention to detail, like on the grab handles. They have, it almost feels like a weapon.
And there's a lot of modularity to this interior as well. They allow you to have all of the power ports and all that other fun stuff where you can mount all your various adventure gear, and you have all your auxiliary light ports as well. And they have basically a quick connect system, if I remember correctly, that allows you to not have to cut up your dash if you want to install all this auxiliary
there's a whole bunch
gear.
of shit, like the bring your own device mentality. There's a mount on the front that you can mount cameras on. They want you to be able to bring your smartphone in here, so there's different mounts for that. Again, they're thinking about every single base they can cover to make this the most appealing, to bring other people out of it. If you're not a Ford customer, they want you to buy this because of all these cute things.
Yeah, attract people who are buying Jeeps.
Yes.
And also attract people who might want a new take on a lifestyle vehicle. You want to talk about engineering that?
Yeah,
next, Mark?
let's talk about this, the engineering. So the big thing with this Bronco is the modularity.
Yes.
You can swap out handles, the doors come off, the fenders come off, front and rear, the bumpers can be changed. They have a winch that is designed from the factory they thought about crash structure. It's been crash tested, so it's safe. They have side airbags in the back. The body structure is way more advanced. It's based on the second generation of what other countries get, the Ranger platform. We don't have it here yet, but in America, but this is the first vehicle that gets this new platform or ladder chassis. So there's a lot going on here that we'll talk about later, but you can see a lot of these changes. In terms of engineering, Jack, in the back, what do we have?
We have a live rear axle, and in this vehicle, you can get, at least in the front suspension, Mark, you have aluminum control arms in the front. And with this package, which is again the more off-roady variant, you get a Bilstein damper with a piggyback reservoir.
Yep, correct. So the other thing too is it doesn't have adaptive dampers, but as you go up in the price trim, like what we're in, better dampers equate to better ride. And I would say this is far superior to any Jeep variant that we've been in.
I agree.
So if you're
I agree with you entirely.
This is a far better road car. It feels like a regular mid-sized truck. There's still some of that jounce that you get from the ride, but you do have shocks and coil springs in the back. You don't have leaf springs, so it just is a very refined experience on the road.
You'll never forget that you're in a truck.
No.
You'll never forget you're in a truck.
They're not trying to make you forget you're on a truck. They're just trying to take the edge off so somebody that loves this can drive it every day, because most people are just going to have this on pavement. So you can do, this is definitely a dual purpose vehicle. But
the other cool thing, Mark, before we talk about what this thing is like to drive, they also added a disconnecting front sway bar. There's no sway bar in the rear that can disconnect under load because it's hydraulic, unlike the electronic disconnecting sway bars found on the Jeeps.
Yeah, they have a pressure actuation or a pump for the hydraulic unit on there. And packaging's clever. Again, they didn't have to go back and try to jam all these things in. They could build the frame or build the platform from the start, knowing all the things that they were going to put into it. The different four-wheel drive systems, the harder core four-wheel drive systems, disconnecting sway bar, it's just non-issue, and there's plenty of space in there as well. But I think before we get in an off-road, Jack, what's your overall driving impressions with the 4-popper on the manual?
I think the manual gearbox adds a level of fun to this, much like you're expecting. You have to wring this thing out to get anywhere in it. It is not fast. If you're expecting the 4-popper experience out of the Jeep, this feels far slower compared to that. This is a direct competitor to the Pentastar V6. It has a decent amount of torque. It doesn't feel entirely asthmatic, but again, it's not fast. The manual is pretty much what you're expecting. Very long throws. The gates are somewhat vague, but it is really, really cool that they offer a stick in this vehicle.
I would agree with you. So if you're coming from the turbo 4-popper in the Jeep, this is very slow compared. It doesn't have the torque. It doesn't have that immediacy that car or Jeep has. So that's a drawback. So if you need more power, you've got to go to the V6. But I think, all the driving stuff we can cover later. Let's take this off-road and see how it does.
All right. Oh boy, Mark, we're setting off road in this Bronco, which is different than the one we just did our street drive in. This is a 4-door. This has the V6 and the 10-speed automatic. It is also a soft top.
Ooh,
yeah. We're about to go through some water.
Yeah, so let's cover this briefly. I think when you set up a course like this, and Ford has completely taken over certain parts of this off-road park in Texas for their customers to come here and experience the different types of trails. We've been on all 3 trails, and I would say this Bronco, doesn't matter which one we were in, they are all extremely capable to the point where it's on easy mode.
Yes.
And I'm not kidding, like with the electronic lockers that you choose on the top of the dashboard, if you choose the option to have the disconnecting sway bar, there's nothing out here, or probably most off-road courses, that you're not just going to be able to breeze through with the right tires.
Yeah, this is a very, very capable vehicle, and I think it's a testament to the engineering that goes into this thing that, you and I are not hardcore off-roaders, to be honest. This is not my idea of a fun time, shall we say. I'm far happier on a racetrack than off on a rock course like this, but it's still, it's really, really impressive, Mark.
But to be fair, we're in a lead follow scenario where we're camped behind somebody. We're not adventuring. This is all planned out for us. So if you're somebody that goes out and explores, finds trails, you're out there by yourself in nature, it's going to be much different than us, okay, we know everything's planned out. It's very cardboard doing this.
So it does strip out some of the fun, I will say that.
It does strip out the fun, and as a passenger, you're just okay, get me out of here after a while, and we've been doing this all day. But this thing does everything. It literally does everything off-road that you could possibly want. The departure and approach angles are insane for what this is.
The level of articulation, if you're looking at the lead vehicle in front of us, we're just breezing through these rocks without too much trouble, to be honest. You can ford a ton of water, I think.
And give them some space too, so we can kind of see the vehicle in front of us and what it's doing. And you can be an idiot, and I'm not kidding, as long as you know how to use the electronics in here. You get stuck, you're not just going to sit there and spin the wheels, but you know how to use the electronics. They make it idiot proof almost, and they said that in the press presentation. They want to make this approachable.
Accessible.
Yes, to somebody that is getting in something like this for the first time, and you want to have some fun. And personally, I don't think I've been in anything else that comes from the factory floor except maybe the Rubicon Wrangler.
Yeah.
And even this, it just feels like it's more composed. It rides better too.
They've also, I think they've gone the extra mile when it comes to some of the interior technology, like this camera we have in front of us and 360 cams and all the various drive modes. They really are trying to make this easy on the people who are going to be doing this to their own vehicles. And a part of this facility too is if you buy a Bronco, as a part of the purchase price, you can take it to this place. And they're setting up, I think, 4 like this across the country, which is, and that is,
they put a lot of money
step.
into this. They want to try to move these, and they know people are gonna buy them regardless. This is just icing on the cake to be able to take this out here and experience what this vehicle can do. And I was talking to Harvey, one of the other gentlemen that is a member of the press, and he's totally sold. He wants one, and I'm like, the only shitty thing about this is, we're out here in the perfect environment, brand new cars, so we don't know the long term how this is going to be reliability. We know the Wrangler has been proven. So this is a new platform. It's all new for them. So time will tell how well this does. But so far, I think it's a no-brainer, Jack. If you're somebody that wants this, sign up for it, be an early adopter. I think you're going to love it.
Yeah, and quickly, Mark, before we get on the final thoughts, I want to talk about the 4-door form factor.
Okay.
This is a far more practical automobile than the 2-door we just got out of. And this twin-turbo V6 is far more potent. And I'm not the biggest fan of Ford's 10-speed, but at least out here, off-road, it seems to be very, very
No,
capable.
it does a great job. It's finding the right gear all the time. You don't have to dick with it. Again, I said, it's easy mode driving this. It really is. It's a no-brainer. You don't even have to think about it. You're never worried about getting beached or stuck somewhere. So I think with that said, Jack, let's head into the final thoughts.
All right. Final thoughts on the all-new Ford Bronco. While Mark and I did not get a lot of time with this product as this was a launch event, we have come away with some conclusions. The first being, if you are someone who loves trucks, values off-roading, or likes the lifestyle element of a vehicle like this, you'll probably be blown away by this truck. Ford has addressed many of the issues plaguing its current competition, specifically the Wrangler JL generation. It rides better, the cabin is far more ergonomic, you don't have all the compromises with draftiness, with road noise, and overall, they've refined the vehicle to be a far easier thing to live with. Off-road, at least in our experience, it seems to be every bit as capable as well. Really, its primary shortcoming, in my opinion, is the character of its available drivetrains. I don't think the 2.3-liter 4-cylinder has the same character of the naturally aspirated Pentastar V6, and if you're looking for a manual, those are your only options. However, the 2.7-liter twin-turbo that is available on the new Bronco is very, very impressive. Not to mention the 10-speed seems to be fairly well suited to this vehicle. So with that said, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.
It's getting hot out there, real hot. When it's this hot, it's hard to crank. You could be cranking all night. Oh yeah. Get ready, here it comes. You want it? There's only one way to get it. Unfriend. unsubscribe, everything to Savage Geese. Ugh, gross, makes me sick.